We begin this morning in Texas with the latest on the deadly mass shooting at an elementary school.
It was exactly a week ago today that the deadly shooting took place at Robb Elementary in Uvalde, Texas. 19 children and 2 teachers lost their lives that day. The first of the funerals is scheduled for today. President Biden visited with families in Texas over the weekend, and yesterday the president said he is committed to responding to gun violence any way he can.
I know that it makes no sense to be able to purchase something that can fire up to 300 rounds. Oh, I know I have to, but there's a Constitution. I can't dictate this stuff. I can do the things I've done, and any executive action I can take, I'll continue to take. But I can't outlaw a weapon. I can't, change the background check. I can't do that.
NBC News correspondent Liz McLaughlin joins us now from Uvalde, Texas. Liz, good morning to you. Let's begin with the community there. The memorial at the school continues to grow. The first of the funerals is today, and there are so many victims. The funerals are expected to stretch well into next month. What is the mood in the community right now?
So many hugs and tears, Joe, inside this town square where so many people have gathered to try to answer those big questions. Why did this happen to us? Why our small town? It's really been tough for people here, and I've been speaking with mental health volunteers who've been working with victims' families and just traumatized kids, community members, and they say this will be an especially tough week because there was a lot of confusion, a lot of shock last week, and now the reality is really setting in for this community. This happened, and this grave loss of 21 of their community members who will never walk through those doors at Robb Elementary again, who will never come to these local businesses or, these community members' houses. There's been lots of spontaneous uniting in song, prayer here in the town square. And I spoke with a faith leader. These faith leaders in this community have been called on to try to answer those big questions. Why this happened to us? What can I do now to try to address that hopelessness? He moved here, Daniel Myers, the pastor I spoke with 10 years ago from Phoenix, because his wife is from here, and she said nothing ever happens there. Let's move there for safety. And now he said he's eating his words. Let's listen to what that pastor had to say.
So I don't know what happened. I don't understand what happened. But the grief that we feel, this didn't hit home personally, but it did hit home because we're human. You're my sister, you're my brother, this is my community, this is where I live.
And hearts in this community are aching, but there's been a predominant message of unity and love right now as they try to just move forward and process all this trauma. Joe?
Liz, let's talk about the investigation. We know the Uvalde school police chief has come under fire for the way officers responded to the shooting. We know the Justice Department is investigating that response. So what's the latest on the chief? And 1 week in, where do things stand right now?
A lot of questions still, Joe. We haven't heard from local entities since that shooting last week. Haven't heard DPS on Friday, the Department of Public Safety, really giving some updates on the investigation is the last we've heard. So it's been a lot of silence and a lot of questions here. And the Department of Justice is actually just studying this. It's a critical incident review, so it's not a criminal investigation. No punitive action there. The hope is to improve best practices, to reflect on lessons learned to help future active shooter situations. But there was a delay in this case that really frustrated people, parents outside of the school, more than an hour until that gunman was confronted. And that call, according to DPS, was from the police chief, Arredondo, who, again, is under police protection. We haven't heard much from him. He was supposed to be sworn in today to city council. He was elected to city council a few weeks ago, but that meeting has been canceled, as they say, to pay respects to the families having funerals right now. But the mayor here, Don McLaughlin, says that there's nothing in the city charter that would keep him from taking that office, that he's not under criminal investigation as of now. Joe?
And Liz, what is the latest on legislative efforts? We know the president sounded very resolute that something must be done. We also know how hard it has been for Congress to pass gun legislation.
Absolutely. It's the timing isn't ideal because we're right before the midterms. So there's a lot of pressure on Republicans to be pro-gun. We've seen this before. It's really hard to find bipartisan resolute here, but Democrats have been optimistic that they can at least find some middle ground. There's been a lot of talk about red flag laws as the most likely laws to pass, or gun reform to pass, something that could affect the outcomes of this. Something like expanded background checks, not as much support, and something that wouldn't have helped in this case because at 18, he had no criminal background, no mental health record, the shooter. So a lot of focus for the Democrats have been on really raising that minimum age and really focusing on assault weapons, those high-capacity weapons. Here's what the president had to say.
Simply no rational basis for it in terms of what is about self-protection, hunting. And remember, the Constitution, the Second Amendment, was never absolute. You couldn't buy a cannon when the Second Amendment was passed. You couldn't go out and purchase a lot of weapons.
And one of the crowd here when President Biden was in town screamed, "Do something." And he promised, "I will." Unfortunately, that political landscape will definitely make it tough for bipartisan support for substantial gun reform. Joe?
Liz McLaughlin in Uvalde, thank you.
Now to the latest in Ukraine and the intense fighting that's unfolding in the eastern part of the country. Russian forces are closing in on the city of Severodonetsk. It's the last city still under Ukrainian control within the Donbass region. The conflict there has turned bloody as Russia heightens its military efforts in the city to bring it under control. NBC News foreign correspondent Molly Hunter joins us now from Kyiv. Molly, good morning. What can you tell us about how the fighting is going in the Donbass region today?
Yeah, Zinkley, good morning, and good morning to you too, Joe. Look, all of the focus is on Severodonetsk, as you say. That city has been, up until really this morning, the last Ukrainian stronghold. There is still Ukrainian military inside that city. There are still civilians, largely old people, largely infirm, people who cannot easily evacuate. What we are learning, though, this morning is the head of the city military says the front line now splits the city. So effectively, Russian forces in control of half the city and the Ukrainian military still holding on to the other half.
Clearly a close fight. And given how much resistance, Molly, Ukrainian forces have put up so far in other cities across the country, is there reason to believe they will hold out in this area like they did in Mariupol? What's the strategic value of this city?
Yeah, so this city is important to the Luhansk region, which is in the Donbass region, Zinkley. It is important to the regional area, and it has been a real center of fighting for the last week. But as far as kind of the grand scale, if you're talking about it, the war for the country, it is incredibly localized. Interestingly, though, as military analysts have been watching this battle unfold over the last week, we've been looking at kind of a horseshoe, a pocket in the Donbass that Russian forces have been absolutely pummeling villages to make incremental gains and to close off that pocket. What's happening, though, is that Russian forces are concentrating so much of their military might, there's so much of their artillery power there, they're neglecting other parts. And that's where we're seeing some of the counteroffensive that Ukrainian forces are launching in the Kherson region.
And Molly, I want to switch gears and discuss President Biden's decision not to supply Ukraine with long-range missiles that have the ability to strike targets within Russia. First, let's take a listen.
Are you going to send long-range rocket systems to Ukraine?
We're not going to send to Ukraine rocket systems that can strike into Russia.
So what kind of impact could these weapons have for Ukraine in order to stop Russia's advance in the eastern part of the country?
Yeah, now if you ask Ukrainian officials, if you ask Ukrainian soldiers, like our chief foreign correspondent Richard Engel, of course, has been talking to soldiers and fighters in the area over the last week, this is the thing they say they need. Now, the governor of Luhansk, part of that Donbass region, gave an interview to the BBC this morning, Sinclair. He says, we need long-range artillery. The Russians are firing at us from a distance constantly. They have an enormous reserve of shells, and they just fire at our positions for hours. Only after that do they send troops, so we need these long-range artillery so that we can stop the Russian army. So they are purely outgunned, and what's happening is that those villages, like I mentioned, those small strategic villages are getting taken over, and that territory is then getting taken over, inching closer and closer to closing off that gap.
A lot of different territory, a lot of different weaponry needs. I know, Molly, we learned yesterday that the European Union agreed to another sanctions package against Russia, which included an almost complete embargo of Russian oil. What else can you tell us about these sanctions and what the impact might be?
Yeah, and this is a big deal. This is something that some of the Western European nations have been pushing very, very hard for. It has been complicated. It has been under negotiation and very disagreeable at higher levels. But what they have agreed is that 2/3 of Russian oil imports will be blocked immediately. That goes up to 90% by the end of the year, with one giant exception. So this is specifically oil that arrives by sea. The ban will only affect oil that comes by sea, not by pipeline, and that is a direct concession to Hungary and to the Prime Minister Orban, who's a very close ally of Russia.
A lot of developments and a lot to follow. Molly Hunter, thank you. Stay safe.
Let's bring in Jameel Jaffer now for more on the situation in Ukraine. He's the founder and executive director of the National Security Institute and also the former associate White House counsel to President George W. Bush. Good to have you with us. So let's start with those sanctions by the EU. Molly called them a big deal. How big of an impact could they have on Russia's economy, especially now that Europe is banning most of Russia's energy imports and cutting off its main bank from the SWIFT system?
Well, look, obviously these sanctions, if they're in fact fully implemented by the Europeans, could have a significant impact. Russia is essentially a one-trick when it comes to their economy. It's oil and gas for them. So if, in fact, the Europeans do cut off Russian oil from coming to Europe, that could be a huge difference. Now, of course, as Molly pointed out, they've not cut off the pipelines, and this doesn't talk about gas. And we've also seen workarounds at times when the Europeans have needed to buy Russian oil and gas. They have engaged in various measures to do so. So more to come on this. But if, in fact, this is a serious ban and it actually is implemented in full, it could have significant impact both on Europe and its ability to get oil and gas in, which you'll have to get from other places, and Russia's economy directly.
I want to ask you about the significance of the fact that the European Union reached this agreement to cut off Russian oil imports after months of negotiations. I mean, is this a sign that Europe is willing to make sacrifices long term to keep the pressure on Russia as long as this conflict continues?
Well, look, the devil's in the details, right? If, in fact, they implement these sanctions the way they're talking about, then, yes, it could demonstrate that the Europeans are willing to make concessions and sacrifices on behalf of the Ukrainians and to stop this Russian aggression. Unfortunately, the record to date has not been perfect. The Europeans have gotten a lot more aggressive than I think anybody expected on sanctions, but they haven't gone quite as far as necessary to really put pressure on Russia. This may be the thing that does that. We'll have to see how it gets implemented, Joe.
Let's talk about what's happening on the ground in eastern Ukraine, which Molly was just reporting on. If the Donbas region does fall to Russian forces in the coming days, how is that going to impact Ukraine's overall war effort?
Well, you know, it certainly demonstrates that the Russians can now capture territory in significant chunks of it, including the parts they've really been focused on. And so if, in fact, this goes the way that, unfortunately, we expect it may, with them capturing the rest of Luhansk, this could demonstrate that the Russians can have success. And if they can have success, the question is, will that be enough for Putin to say, OK, I've had enough, you know, let's try and find a path forward? Or will he say, look, you know, I'm succeeding now. Now's the time to press that advantage and push back against other parts of Ukraine. To be seen how that plays out. But again, if the U.S. can provide more equipment, more weaponry, that may push Putin in a different direction.
I also want to get your thoughts while we have you on President Biden's decision not to send those long-range missile systems to Ukraine. Do you think that's the right call, or do you disagree?
Well, look, if it were me, I would certainly be sending the long-range missiles to Ukraine. It holds Russia at risk. It demonstrates to them that Ukraine can strike inside of Russia. But I understand the president's decision. He doesn't want to raise the temperature on this fight. This has been a consistent message for this administration. It's part of the reason why we moved so slowly into giving the Ukrainians the weapons they need to defend themselves. And so the question becomes, at what point are we going to say we need to give the Ukrainians everything possible we can and stop playing this game of, you know, we don't want to push the Russians too far? We've been playing this game for a long time, and we've gotten more and more involved over time. At some point, we just got to say we're going to do whatever it takes to help the Ukrainians. We're not there yet, clearly, from this administration's perspective.
Jameel Jaffer, thanks so much for joining us this morning. We appreciate it.
Thanks for having me.
Now, if you're like me, you may still be recovering from your Memorial Day barbecue or from flight frustration in our nation's airports. Flight cancellations and delays left travelers looking to get away for Memorial Day weekend stranded.
10 minutes from the airport, we find out, oh, the flight got delayed.
No pilots. I mean, what do you mean? We're at the airport.
Just delaying it, like what? Sometimes it's weather, or sometimes they don't have like a reason behind it. So it's like I'm ready to go. I'm tired of sitting here.
A lot of distressed travelers, and on Memorial Day alone, there were over 400 cancellations in the U.S. and close to 4,000 delays. Travel experts are blaming it on severe weather and airline staffing shortages. So is this a preview of what's to come for the summer travel season? We'll get there. But first, let's talk weather.
Yeah, NBC's Michelle Grossman is here with a look at your morning news now forecast. Hey, Michelle, good morning.
So good to see you both. I love seeing those smiling faces. And we had severe weather yesterday. Joe and I were talking about it. We're seeing it once again today. So this is the setup right here. We have this upper area of low pressure. You could see that spin. On the backside, we have feet of snow falling in the northern Rockies. June 1st is tomorrow, by the way. And then we have this cold front here. So we're seeing embedded thunderstorms even early this morning. That will be the story as we go throughout the day. So another afternoon of severe weather risk. 32 million at risk. We could see some damaging wind gusts. We saw a wind gust up to 90 miles per hour yesterday. We could see hail up to a golf ball size. That's better than the grapefruit size we saw yesterday. And also a few tornadoes. This is stretching from the Great Lakes all the way to parts of Texas. Where you see this shading here, this is where you want to have your safety plan in place. You want to keep your phone with alerts, be near a TV as we head throughout the afternoon hours. Now, tomorrow, we're going to see this slow moving system move off to the east. So now we're into the northeast, Syracuse, Pittsburgh, Cincinnati. You have the threat for seeing some of those strong storms, as well as Oklahoma City into Lubbock. We could see winds gusting near 70 miles per hour. That alone could cause some damage. Large hail is likely once again an isolated tornado or two. We're really worried about the rainfall too. We've already seen 3 inches in some spots. We're adding 2 on top of that. So we're seeing flooding rains, flash flooding. That's really dangerous when it comes to a weather risk, especially in parts of the southern plains, Oklahoma City, Tulsa up to Wichita. You could see a lot of rain. Another big story. It feels like summer in many, many spots. We have that jet stream all the way to the north. We are looking at that hot and humid air. It was hot yesterday. Oh, there's some video. Sorry, I didn't get to that. But this is some damage yesterday from Minnesota. We had severe weather all day long. We were tracking it for about 12 hours straight. Luckily, out of the woods this morning, but we are looking at that severe weather as we head throughout the central plains, southern plains into the northeast. But also we're talking about the temperatures too. Temperatures in the 80s and 90s, well above normal for this time of year. That is today. Then by tomorrow, we are looking at temperatures still remaining in the 90s. Really sticky, too, with that humidity in place, 96. That could break a record in Philadelphia. And we're looking at 93 in Baltimore tomorrow, 82 in Syracuse. And then as we go throughout the rest of the week, we are looking pretty good in terms of the temperature. But the June outlook, sorry, guys, here's the tease. It's going to be warm, above average for your June outlook.
This is a representative of what we're about to experience.
Just get used to it. Maybe take the jacket off.
Hey, lucky for us, we can wear white now.
That's true. Yeah,
that'll solve everything.
Michelle Grossman, thank you.
You're welcome.
And now to Blaine Alexander. She's joining us from Hartsfield-Jackson Atlanta International Airport to help us talk flight cancellations amid a lot of that turbulent weather Michelle just discussed. Blaine, good morning. Parts of the country saw severe storms roll through over the holiday weekend, the Midwest included. Did that have a major effect on flights as travelers tried, sometimes unsuccessfully, to return home on Memorial Day?
Inez and Clay, as you know, of course, bad weather never helps when you're talking about flights and flight delays, and then you add on top of that a busy holiday weekend. And then on top of that, even still, more airlines that are still trying to catch up after COVID shortages. So let's just look at Delta Airlines. Of course, we're here in Atlanta. It's Delta's hub. This, of course, is the world's busiest airport. Delta was hit the hardest over the weekend, canceling more than 500 flights. A number of those, of course, came after we saw that rough weather kind of pass through. They had to cancel flights Saturday and some into Sunday as well, but they're also pointing to staffing issues. You know, this is something that we've seen not just with Delta, but a number of other airlines. In fact, ahead of this busy summer travel season, they said that they were going to try and cut some schedules because they just don't have enough staff to run as many flights as they'd like to. So they're trying to kind of pull down some of those flights so that you won't see as many delays as you have over the weekend.
And you talked about cutting schedules, but the reality is airfare bookings have actually jumped as we head into summer travel season. Wanderlust is in full effect, but several airlines, as you said, are scaling back schedules. Why is this, and does it make sense?
Well, they said that that's exactly what they need to do in order to make sure that we don't see delays like what happened over Memorial Weekend through the summer. They said that they just don't have enough staff as they kind of try and get their numbers back to pre-COVID numbers. They don't have enough staff to run the full schedule that they typically would. So they were already going ahead and kind of proactively slashing some schedules. But of course, that has a direct correlation to flight prices. You know, if you look at ticket prices, already they're higher than likely what you would have seen pre-pandemic numbers. And that's because there there are fewer flights. And so there are a number of things that people can try and do. Try and book early, try and book on some off days, and also just be aware that the schedule that you book may not necessarily be the schedule that you fly.
And Blaine, is what we saw this weekend an acute issue, or will the impact of this weekend's flight delays and cancellations continue to roll into the summer?
They're certainly hoping that they won't. They're hoping that they will not go into the summer, that the kind of slashing of the schedules will make it so that all of these flights are manageable. But again, we're not just looking at flights and flight prices going up. We're also looking at gas prices going up, too, across the board. In fact, gas prices that we saw over the Memorial Day weekend were higher than we've seen over any other Memorial Day weekend since those numbers have been tracked. So we're already talking about the fact that, people who may have said, hey, I'm going to drive, not necessarily doing that this year. So you're going to see more people actually trying to purchase these flights, prices going up. And something else that experts are saying as well, be prepared for long lines. Be prepared for long lines through security, through boarding. Even if you're kind of walking through the airport to get food and drink, you're going to be surrounded by a lot of travelers this season. St. Clair.
Blaine, outside of Atlanta's major airport, thank you so much.
Thanks for watching our YouTube channel. Follow today's top stories and breaking news by downloading the NBC News app.